Picking a car in emergency Hamburg can be one of the most frustrating things you could ever do. There are so many cars to choose from, so many game passes, and sometimes you just get so confused. So today I've narrowed it down to 5 cars that you must have in emergency Hamburg as a pro player. Now the first one is going to be this Mercedes C63, also known as the Stuttgart GMA C63 facelift. Now the reason why I picked this car is because, a few updates back we actually had this car as a new car. It's actually really good. Even though the new BMW M2 is faster than this car actually does handle pretty nice. Now let's actually go for a drive where I tell you all about this car. This car actually handles super nice. If you do drive a lot in emergency Hamburg, it does handle really nice. It also has a good top speed and it has a lot of brake horsepower, which is obviously needed to get away from police officers a lot in this game. So I think this car is one of the cars that does it best, to be honest. Apart from the Bugattis that do it in milliseconds, or the electric cars that do it in milliseconds under a second, I think this car, for a petrol car, is one of the best cars that they've ever added into this game. Now, I've not got much to say for this because obviously it may not be handling great, as you can see, because up here it's not fully fixed, so I actually need to get it fixed. But yeah, as you can see, I just got a speeding fine, and it's because this car is so quick, and it's actually hard to brake. So I think that's probably one of the downfalls of this car. It's really hard to brake with this type of car, but once you get used to it, it will be absolutely fine. So I think that this is one of the best cars that you should have in emergency Hamburg. Let's move on to number 2. And this car also drifts super good, as you just saw. The second car, which actually matches my outfit, is the BMW M2. Now they recently added this into the new V3.7 update, and also featuring an Audi Q4, but this car is actually sick. It's got way more horsepower than the car I've previously showed, and it's much cheaper. And as you can see, it's much of a compact car, so it's not really that hard to handle / drive. Now I would say the downfall of this car, I don't even have one at the moment because I've been driving this car for a long time, but I don't think this car has better handling than the C63. Now both of them act the same, there is no a lot of difference between the handling between this and the C63 anyways, but I think the C63 actually handles it much better than this M2 does. Now obviously if you're a bad driver, then yeah, maybe go for the C63, but if I put my foot down on the accelerator now, just look how fast this accelerates. And this is purely because of the brake horsepower that this car has. It has much more than the C63, and if you do a little launch here, you can see how crazy and how quick this accelerates. And the C63, don't get me wrong, is an amazing car, but compared to this, I would take this over the C63 any day. It also brakes better, so you can avoid speeding tickets, which I didn't avoid then because there's no point, but you can avoid speeding tickets and fines way better with this than you can with the C63. Now a reason why it probably does brake better at the moment than the C63 is because this car is fully fixed and my C63 isn't. But overall, if I could persuade anyone to get any of these two cars, it would have to be the BMW M2. Now I haven't got a lot to say about this, so I'm going to move straight on to number 3. Now if you would buy any of these two cars that I've just said, tell me down below in the comment section, and tell me down below why you would. Let's go back to the dealership and let me show you number 3. The next car that I'm going to talk about is the S5. Now a lot of people that have just started this game are going to like this one because it only cost 15,000 euros. Now don't get me wrong, this car is probably one of the slowest ones that I've talked about in today's video, but it actually handles pretty well. Now a lot of people love to buy this car because it's just a little upgrade from the first car, but actually in reality it's a big upgrade, and let me tell you why. This car maybe, you know, slow, but it's actually really nippy. Now in real life as well, this car actually beats most things on the road. It's actually a sleeper build, and it's got great handling, great handling, and I wouldn't really mind driving this car as my daily driver in emergency Hamburg. It's good on fuel, it's good to handle, and it's also really nice to drive. Now just look at this amazing braking. You don't need to worry about fines if you've got perfect brakes like these. Now obviously slower cars, better brakes, you know, the better braking because the car is slower anyway, but wouldn't you want to build your money up anyway to go get the C63 or the M2? You need to save your money somehow, and this somehow is by avoiding unnecessary fines, and this car does it best. I won't even lie to you, it actually has really nice handling too. Now just look how it stays on the road, maybe not in lane because that's pretty hard to do on keyboard, but it stays really compact on the road, which makes it easier to handle, makes it easier to get around. And also, if they added modifications into this game, this car would actually be a lot of things on the road, and it would actually be a lot of things on the road for cheaper. Now, you know, a lot of you guys have this car, so if you do, tell me down below in the comments, what do you like about this car? Because to be honest, I like everything about this car, and you know, rather than the starter car that is already slow, I do like this, and I did upgrade from this as well, from the first car, and I really enjoy this car before I got enough money to get my hands on that beast of a car, the C63, which I also love. But yeah, I've got nothing more to say about this car, so we're gonna go ahead and go to the dealership, and we're gonna go on to number 4. Now we have a little bit of a problem because I don't own 5 cars, but I can give you a lot of advice on what to buy. So we're gonna go ahead and spawn my M2, and I'm gonna talk about a car that is probably really underrated nowadays, and that car is the M5. The M5 actually smokes this car, and it smokes absolutely everything on the list. It's a really nice car, to be honest. I actually driven one on someone else's account, not on this account, but I've driven it on someone else's account. They're busy right now, so I can't actually drive it right now, but I've driven it, and it's actually a really nice car. It's fast, it looks nice, but one of the downfalls of that car is it's really long, so you know, it's easy to damage the car. You know, for example, when you're drifting, it's easy to damage the car. Other than these compact little cars, you know, that are easy to drift around in and easy to take corners in, the M5 can be a little bit hard and techie if you're not a good driver, or if you're not used to driving in emergency Hamburg. But obviously it is no job for those who drive buses in emergency Hamburg, because buses are long, trucks are long in emergency Hamburg, and I don't think it'll be any problem for those people. But for people who, you know, just rob, I think they probably would enjoy a more compact car like this M2 rather than the M5. But yeah, now for number 5 is gonna be the Bugatti. Now I'm working my way towards the Bugatti, but it's a bit of an expensive car. It's not really overrated. I know it doesn't look that great. It looks all right. It's not bad. It looks all right, but you know, it's a bit of an expensive one, and I think that they could do much better. They could add, you know, many more cars into the game. But I mean, if you're working your way towards a Bugatti, then mate, that's great, because it's the fastest car in the game, probably really easy to get away from police in that car, and you know, it probably does handle stuff really good. Since it cost 1 million euros, I would expect that, you know, it does some sort of good handling, good speed, good pretty much everything, because if I'm paying 1 million euros for a car, I want it to be really good, you know what I mean? But yeah, anyone that has the Bugatti, tell me down below in the comments how it is driving it, because you know, I really do want to drive the Bugatti, and when I do get my hands on one, I would definitely do a live stream. But yeah, all these 5 cars are cars that you must have or must be working your way to get, because these cars are absolutely amazing. For example, my amazing BMW M2 that I love this car, and it's absolutely amazing. Goodbye.